Och så ut och bara paddla och så plötsligt ser man någon som drullar in. Hej Karin, gick det bra? Gick det bra?
Ja.
Håll i kajaken och paddeln.
Okej.
Kan du ta och vända din kajak? Bra, jag kommer hit så hjälper jag dig. Så att det är jättebra om personen kan hålla i sin kajak och sin paddel. Så har vi sin kontroll på det.
Du, hur gick det? Är det okej? All right. Ja. Då kan vi göra så här att du...
Jag ska hålla där.
Ja, du följer dina växtlinor och så till min kajak. Och så håller du runt där, ja. Och så upp med benen runt kajaken, jättebra. Och så tar du huvudet på sidan så att du inte får kajaken ifall att det skulle komma en våg där eller någonting. All right, so we're back with our group of kayak leaders in training in the northern Stockholm archipelago. Bryr inte om mig, det är bara TV4. Oh. In beautiful areas on a sunny day, actually a couple of sunny days, and we are training, in this case, as you can see, rescues assisted and solo. Practicing how to get back in their kayak is something any kayaker should do on a regular basis, so you know that you're able to get back in the craft that you use, whether it's a cowboy rescue, as here, and with a loaded kayak, like here, which is much more difficult than a lighter kayak, or whatever else technique you might be using, including a paddle float to assist, or hopefully having a friend to assist you, an assisted rescue. In any case, we are training and being instructed and instructing each other. As kayak leaders, of course, we need to be prepared to not only help ourselves or members of our team, but of course any participant in the activity. So this is a main part of the safety, and we spent quite a lot of time on that in our dry suits and wetsuits. But now we've paddled all day long. If you missed the previous video, I'll link to that here, which shows the earlier part. And now it's time, as always, to set up our tents and prepare for dinner and discussions and reviews. And we also have some verbal presentations by some kayak leaders during these breaks. Det påpekades att kläderna hänger nästan horisontellt. I'm saying the clothes are hanging horizontally there almost. Anyway, it's always nice once you're back on shore and you can look back at the day and what you've learned, what you've practiced and experienced. So always some interesting discussions there. And we had some great moonlight with a full moon on this evening. And it's been really calm weather throughout most of the day. And it's actually going to be that the next day as well, except for windier weather towards the end. And here we are on the second day. New leaders in charge, briefing the team or briefing the participants.
Vi har 2 timmar på oss och det är ungefär 8,5 kilometer. Så att vi får lite tempo.
So the available time and the distance, the route and other information.
Så det är planen det. Är alla redo med sina kajaker?
Is everybody ready with their kayaks and gear and so on?
Så om jag gör så, det betyder att
some instruction on the paddling signals.
Jag gör så där. Det betyder att ni ska stanna där ni är.
And now we're about to head out. But before that, as we've done on previous trips, this continues here. Each pair of leaders will also conduct instruction on different paddling techniques. In this case, the forward stroke and different forward paddling techniques.
Och då har jag skifflat in en massa vatten under båten så gör att den bara svänga. Då känner jag att jag får till det.
So now we have this new leader team, always 2 during this course, 1 in the front and 1 at the back. The one in the front is the navigator and makes decisions based on the conditions and risks and whatever is needed during the route, and then 1 in the back. Here we had a bit of an incident, a paddler that left the group unexpectedly, which the leaders had to deal with. The instructors kind of sprinkle these incidents across the whole course, so you never know when something's gonna happen, just like real life. Meanwhile, this nature reserve, as much of the archipelago, is really beautiful, and it's just really enjoyable to be out here. We're not in the outer archipelago, we're in the mid-archipelago, you could say, and it's fairly protected, and actually even these open water passages aren't too choppy at this point. Even so, there's always protocol involved, so the leader decides a proper formation, and then you try to get across as quickly as you can in an organized fashion. Especially, of course, if there's boat traffic. Then every now and then you'll have the leader stop to inform the participants about what's next, checking up on how everybody's doing, and making sure everybody's ready before heading onwards. There's a lot to consider actually when you are a leader like this. In the front, you're focused on keeping a good speed for the group, obviously heading in the right direction, you're navigating, so you're keeping an eye on the map, and you have to have eyes in the back of your head and keep an eye on what your fellow leader at the back, or other leaders if available, are signaling. And then the leader at the back, in Swedish Kayak, is keeping an eye on the group and reacting to any issues that come up, making sure everybody stays in formation or between the leaders. So you always have a leader at the front and not one in the back, and all participants should be between them, unless the leader for some reason has assigned paddlers to do something else.
Nej, du ska ju vara med.
And inevitably comes lunch break. Before that, always a good time to check up on how it went with the last stretch. And after, some refreshing food and actually a verbal presentation by one of the kayak leaders. It's time to instruct paddlers again. In this case it's myself and my kayak partner, and we're instructing paddlers on paddling backwards, reverse paddling, and
All right, hörni.
stops.
Vi tänker så helt enkelt att ni skulle kunna vända er lite så att ni är i den riktningen också.
So this is the fun part of the video where everything looks completely confused. So it's like I've recorded this in reverse or something. I've turned,
bakåtsträvande.
you know, it's
Snyggt.
one would imagine that an organization like the Swedish Outdoor Association, which this is through, would be moving things forward, not backwards, but in this case, yeah, we were moving backwards, very definitely. For the most part, it's forwards though, and very much so. So now, as you can see, it's getting a bit windier, and for this stretch,
Lite lagom blåst
where we actually have new kayak leaders, a new pair of kayak leaders, it's actually much more important to stay in proper formation and follow the instructions of the leader, because while we can't see a lot of them here, there are a lot of motorboats here. There's a lot of very, very fast boat traffic. So these open water passages need to be handled professionally, so to speak. The group needs to be in order and move across safely and swiftly. And of course, in this case, dealing with leaders that are trained, it's much easier than doing with participants that may not be used to this. But when you do this in real life, it gets easier as participants pick this up pretty quickly normally. In this case, there's another incident. So a paddler didn't feel well and needed to be checked on by the leaders, and then eventually towed for assistance there, as there wasn't enough energy. And as you'll note, that is not being done by one of the leaders. It's being done by an assigned paddler who is capable of towing technique. So you always want to keep the leaders free if possible to maintain an overview of the group and the bigger picture. So communication and group management is really important.
Good, good.
Tillfriskna snabbt. Vi har nu paddlat längs med Hjältholmen.
Also maintaining group awareness. So you saw the leader there providing an update on where we've paddled so far and where we're headed next, so that everybody's aware of where they are. Not everybody may have a map. Of course, in this case we're kayak leaders, so everybody has a map, but normally participants might or might not. But in any case, it's important to make sure that people are aware of what's coming next and where they are, to a reasonable extent.
Yep.
The leader in the front, in this case they're switching between them, so now the leader who was at the front is now at the back and vice versa. They need to really communicate with each other visually, so using signals every now and then the leader in the front will take a look back at the leader at the back and just make sure that everything is okay. And this is also something that you have to learn to do organically, because there's a lot of things that you need to keep track of. And ultimately, what's coming next here is actually the part where things get really tricky, because the wind picked up and we had some really significant chop on the way back to the dock where we started. And we had a lot of heavy boat traffic there. So for the leader in the front there and the leader at the back and everybody, this needs a lot of focus. Unfortunately, the last really choppy passage I don't have on camera, because ultimately my action camera battery gave out, and the focus here of course was on the course itself at the end of the day. So I don't have the final footage, but more to come from continued parts of the course.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe in order to stay updated on new videos and help others find the information on this channel. Happy paddles!